We're probably going to have to get poor man's Oppenheimer off the ledge here. I was like, what a line. What a great line. I liked that a lot.
Gen Wars. Welcome back to Gen Wars, the combative and sometimes agreeable podcast between the Gen Xers and the still kind of sick millennials.
Barely.
Good. We're getting over that. Today we're going to be going over and breaking down episode number 7 of Xmen 97. What was this episode called?
I think it was Bright Eyes.
What was this episode? Bright Eyes. This episode was called Bright Eyes. We've developed a structure to keep us on track. Those are nostalgia bias, production value, spirit and emotional value and intent, rewatchability, overall thoughts, and predictions. Steven, you want to hit him with some plugs before we get into this?
You know, the first category is nostalgia for a reason, and you can get your nostalgia merch over at the Funky Store, funky.store. We appreciate it. It funds what we do here. We do a lot of things. Nick over at Fire Hazard Creations, where you're watching this show, he makes playthings into display things. So you need to check out all of those things. Watch all the videos. Watch it all the way through because it's super helpful. And then you can put my stuff on in the background so you can have two things on because I know you all need two things on. You can watch his stuff and you can watch my stuff over at Funky Games where we play through quintessential video games because we don't want to be video game posers and be the best gamers, professional gamers even. So make sure you like and subscribe both our channels. We appreciate it.
And before we start this, spoiler warning. If you didn't watch this, get over there and watch it and come back before you get into this. We don't want to spoil anything for you. So let's start off by the nostalgia bias of this all. Steven, do you have any or what is your nostalgia bias for this episode?
This episode was heckin' sad. So if you have any attachment to these characters, as I predicted, they confirmed, Gambit is hella dead. He is not alive. Yes. And it's sad. I would say it's a dark version of nostalgia, but, that was a fantastic funeral scene. It kind of reminds you of, Batman funeral scenes. It reminds you of Spider-Man funeral scenes for, Uncle Ben. And, all. It was very impactful. There was a good emotional, I guess it goes in spirit and emotion, but we're just going to glaze over Nightcrawler kind of going back to his monk priest roots here doing his ceremony there. That was good. Really good use of the character. It's very good logic sense within story building. So everyone was kind of just out of the gates really playing the roles that they were you've got the naive young Jubilee, you've got the grizzled Wolverine, everybody is in character, which historically has not been something that Disney has been willing to do. So seeing it here executed very, very well really piqued my nostalgia meter up to 11 because just out of the gates, this was a very tonally appropriate, but also made good use of what we've been building these characters up to.
Yeah, this is one of those properties that should they deviate from those characters that we know and love would make it very. I think we'd have a lot of pushback on that. So I'm glad
the original Wolverine movie with Ryan Reynolds getting kicked from it because yikers. But that was Fox, so I will.
Yeah, exactly. And but it shows you deviate from that and people go, wait, what is this? I don't approve of this. My nostalgia bias for this, I guess more so for what we get to at the end, or where we're going with this storyline. I don't really know this character or this character of Bastion. I'm not aware of.
I wasn't aware. Is he new?
He's been around since 96.
Well, okay.
So that was at the tail end as I was tapering off reading comic books. That's when I got a car, I got my first job, I was running around sitting at my house reading comic books. So I really don't know. Just before this, I was kind of reading up on them, and also I've from what I've been watching has been kind of giving me some insight on who this character is, because I'm at a loss, unfortunately.
My excuse was I was 5, so
that's a good excuse. I was 16, so I mean, but yeah, like I had a lot of other things going on. But yeah, he is a character that was merged, that came out of the merging of Nimrod and Master Mold, and so that's what his character is based on what I've read. If you have more, please leave it in the comments. I'd like to know more. Moving forward, we have 3 episodes where we're gonna deep dive into this character. I'm sure they're gonna give us some backstory for those who don't, because I don't believe he was in the original animated show. Again, that might have escaped me during that. So I like where they're going with it. I like what they're doing. So I hope this is helping the nostalgia bias of other people who know these characters and are enjoying it as much as I am without knowing this.
And that's where I have to just commend the show. Like, they are really pulling from a lot of resources rather than just kind of like... And I know they have access to the writing team and the original writing team from the original series and stuff like that, but they're going... I'm assuming either their own course or at least leveraging a lot of the IP and its mixed media format. And I think they're showcasing that they're willing to do that. I think they're leaning towards the comics, which is probably true to like spirit and intent and those kind of things. But that's a great way to not only play into the current audience, but maybe expose the wider audience, which is what everybody shoots for when they're making something like an animated series, to the true like storytelling that was there to begin with. So I really enjoy seeing the comics brought in, specifically like Uncanny X-Men and stuff like that, which I just didn't have necessarily.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the storyline that they're telling right now lends itself to the character that's going to be the big bad in the Deadpool movie, because from what I'm understanding is that she was the one that released the Wild Sentinel on Genosha in the comic books, or at least in Uncanny X-Men, maybe.
So I kind of don't want to know what this big bad is. So just if you want.
Oh, she's in the trailer of the Deadpool movie.
I didn't know who that was, though.
Okay, so I guess we'll talk off here, and I'll if you want, I'll give you some rundown of who she is.
No. If it's going to be unveiled in the show, I want to stay true to like I want to experience.
No,
the
I
show.
don't. I don't think they're this. I don't believe that she is she is going to be anywhere involved in this show.
Oh, okay, because they implied that like Sinister is working for someone. So if that's like, I want that unveiling.
Maybe that might be true. I assumed that Sinister was the top of the heap here, and
no,
Bastion. He and Bastion were working together.
No. They're both working for someone.
Okay,
is what I gleaned. So you've got some sauce there. You can.
Okay.
I'll allow you to make your claim in the prediction section, but don't. You can say her name and that stuff, but don't give me the backstory. So if like, oh yeah,
okay.
Then I will acknowledge you were correct in your prediction. We can have that on record.
So that being said, let's move into the production value of this episode.
This is top tier.
He's making the.
It's the good. It's the sauce, man. It's the good sauce. With the going rogue moments, there was a lot of just like stretch and squash that is only in really good 3D animations, because you have to break rig. Breaking rig is not always done. Like that huge impact where they like stretched her and she's like whipping and coming in for those punches and stuff. And I'm sure Future Nick has pulled some great screenshots from that, but it was very impressive.
Yeah, no, I was, I mean, as we've talked about on here and the other podcasts, I've worked in animation, so yeah, they try not to break that rig too much, but sometimes you have to get those very cool shots, those very dynamic action poses and such. So there was a very interesting. Rogue was flying around. Was it Rogue? Yeah, it was Rogue flying around with the Sentinel, and they were just like they weren't actual figures anymore. They were just particles or beams of energy floating around. And that's something I did when I worked on the show that I worked on. It was I really liked that they kind of brought that into the show, that they were just energy balls flying around each other. I'll probably throw a still up here of it. But maybe that could be brought into some nostalgia bias for me, that brought me back to some old times.
Well, I would like to hope that we are moving out of the era of just like abusing CGI artists, especially as we're seeing the failures of those films that really push and crunch timelines. I respect to an extent that you have timelines and deadlines and whatnot, because for every creative procrastinator out there, those are kind of the end all be all. But when we look at things like the success of Spider-Verse 1 and 2,
yeah,
they're like, no, we're going to make the product that we want to make. I'm seeing a lot of care and passion and love in the animation, so I'm hoping, if not in every scene, like, you know, there's some bum scenes in there, but we're seeing some real craft here, and I hope this environment continues to provide that, because you can take almost any comic book superhero IP and push them into this style. Because I feel like we're on the tail end of like the superhero cinema era. We're on the tail end of it. Unless we see a revitalization of pushing the comic books, like what people fell in love with, into this new media format.
We'll give it the time that it's worth and that it deserves for them to draw it, for them to animate it, for them to do the CGI. Because we keep seeing I don't want to say the crap, but there's a lot of crap that's coming through this. Like, we're like, this is going to be what is this? And this does not feel that way. I know in the first episode of this, I had a issue with the I don't want to the flatness of it, I guess, but I don't watch a lot of animation, so it was something that I had to get used to real quick, and I've now fallen in love with. I think they are doing a fantastic job across the board, whether it's two people standing around talking or it's laser beams and Rogue punching the ground and smashing tanks together. I thought it was they're doing it absolute, but give it that time that it needs to let the artists do what they do best.
I really liked, and this might go into spirit or emotion, so if you want to transfer to that topic here.
Let's go to that topic.
Speaking of her destroying the tanks, there's a good like shotgun method to this, where like Rogue at the beginning, because she killed those dudes in the tanks like right out, and that was kind of like, I was like, oh, she big mad.
We didn't see anybody jump out, so yes, we're gonna assume that.
Yeah, there's no way. Well, because they had the screaming and stuff, like you could hear the people over the comms, like in the tank, like, oh god, and then explode.
Okay.
Let's just assume
then,
dead.
She did a couple unalivings in this episode.
Well, that's what I was saying. So we immediately like, whoa, that's different. That's hitting weird. And then you had her like, just like, I'm gonna just straight up use my powers and get what I need out of you. Which backfired to some extent. And then Nightcrawler's like, sorry, and she finally had her breakdown, and then in the third act, she just dropped him off the building like, nah.
Yeah.
I tried, because you think that like, she's all good now, like she's had her moment, she's going to return to form, and then nope, she's like, I'm face to face with the killer of my romantic interest and yeet right off the building. And she absolutely wanted to do that.
That's what I wrote down in my notes. Just straight yeeted him off the building.
Yeah, and I love the line. It was like, sorry, sugar, like I'm all out of care stew.
Yeah.
And
then Wolverine,
which also
Wolverine said something to that. He's like, she did whatever we've all wanted to do.
And again, everybody true to character, well, except for Rogue, who is acting out of character to some extent. She's had that in there because if we go back to like when she was training with Magneto and all that stuff, like there's seeds sown. But it's great character development. It's a strong female character development that I don't usually see well executed in common media, and it's great. It's great. Like just having her execute on the emotional discourse that's happening in that moment. It's great character development, and Wolverine is someone that has done that historically. So you're seeing that like tension in the team where you have like people like Morph and Wolverine who are more like we've done bad stuff. And Rogue has done bad stuff.
I liked Morph in this episode.
I liked his
where it was like the one and only time that I've liked Morph so far.
Poor man's Oppenheimer was a banger.
Oh, is that what? Okay, I saw your note and I was like, what is he referring to there?
When he was up like rambling about like the robotics and like sentience and those things, and he's up on the the letter thing, and he's like, we're probably gonna have to get poor man's Oppenheimer off the ledge here. I was like, what a line. What a great line. I liked that a lot.
I was like, okay, you're getting me back on Morph's side. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, no, he was great. It's again a little bit more of the shotgun kind of like if you see it in the first act, and he's a dick, but it can be implemented in different ways. Like when it's at people you don't like, it's funny. When it's at his peers and friends, you're like, what? Can you turn it off? Can you? And the answer is no, he can't. That's just his character, and it's used in different ways, and it's funny, and in the right.
We even had some call, like when they brought them all to the Blackbird, and he was like, "They're our enemies. Why are we trusting them? We shouldn't be trusting them." And I was like, "Oh, Morph is actually, what's the word?
Intelligent."
No, yes, but the moral compass, like, hey, we're having, which is never good. Now that I'm saying that, oh no, is Morph gonna die again?
Oh, hey, put it down in the history books then.
The predictions.
We might be predicting that Morph is gonna die. I think they do a really good job of showing we have a large cast, which I've said before in the podcast. There is a large cast of characters here, and there's going to be different dynamics, and we're highlighting the dynamics of Morph and Wolverine in an episode where Rogue is starting to more align with them. These are people that have gone through a lot. So, Scott's going through a storyline where he's kind of going for the first time. He's suffering. He's lost his child. He's lost essentially his wife and love for the third or fourth time at this point. He's lost Xavier's dream. The death of the dream line was fantastic. So we're seeing a lot of characters kind of catch up to characters like Morph and Wolverine who have gone through, Morph did horrible things under the influence of Sinister, and Wolverine has lived through every war ops thing that you can,
horrific thing,
right?
You can imagine.
Yeah. So they're all the veterans of this, and they are, to the best of their ability, supporting their peers going through that transition as well.
Yeah. We do also have to discuss the appearance of another Avenger, if you will.
Oh yeah,
Captain America shows up.
Cap cameo coming in.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I knew about this going in. You didn't want to watch the trailer.
Nope. And I'm glad I didn't.
I like that when she he wouldn't help her, or he wanted to do it his way. She just flies up and just throws his shield off into the mountains, and he's just like, really? We're doing that? Come on.
I find it interesting. So maybe you know this, or the people in the audience know this. That was a damaged shield. Is that significant? Like, is that damage showcasing a significant event? Because I'm assuming that he's just going to get a new one now, because that was just yeeted into the nether realm. But it was clearly shown as damage. Like, they were having that crack, like, very prominent in placement over and over. So I didn't know if, like, Captain America, if we're trying to, like, set timelines where that was damaged recently.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't notice it was damaged. Maybe I wasn't paying attention close enough, just because I was excited that Captain America showed up.
Ooh, Captain America! We haven't had enough media time spent on Captain America in Common Era, so whatever.
Well, I just was wondering what was going to happen. Why was he being brought in, and what were they moving forward to, if anything at all? Like,
the United States, like, poster child, like, that's what they brought him in for, and that was a good time to do it, because we're showing the seeds of corruption pretty prominently here.
And who is his team as well? Who is the team that he said me and my team are going to go in?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Falcon and Winter Soldier, but
yeah, I don't know if it's just a bunch of Marines or if it's actually some Avengers or what. So I think that'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming they'll be in somewhere in the next 3 episodes, if we've established them, or maybe they're just saving him for season 2.
I took it as a little bit of a throwaway, just to show that, like, he is completely intertwined with, like, the United States government. So, like, he's not going to be an asset.
True.
And we see that several times, where Rogue is kind of, like, figuring out where her allegiances lie. Like, it definitely lies with Nightcrawler, definitely doesn't lie with the United States government, which is also shown with Scott and his conversation with the president. It's not aligned with the Captain America and those things. So this is very much testing Rogue and everything that she has built in her life, and so that's a very compelling story, and it leans into why she's acting in such a way.
Okay, yeah, that is solid thoughts. I agree with all of that. All right, so
this is supposed to be combative, Nick. What is happening?
I told you, sometimes it's agreeable. Sometimes we're aligned on the same page here. Rewatchability. I know I'm definitely going to rewatch this again. It falls in the line of you do kind of need to know where we're at. Like, you need to watch what's came before it to get to here, but still a very fun episode. A lot of setup for the final 3, and a lot of changing of character, a lot of moving away from what we thought Rogue was. And Scott is, thought he had the government's help or the ability to help out mutants, and they show that they weren't there for him, and he was like, well, I guess we're doing it on our own.
Yeah, and that's
definitely would rewatch this episode again for a lot of good stuff that's in there.
Yeah, now I would love to watch it right after. Like, I still am just kind of mixed on, like, the Xavier Storm pseudo plot, just, like, in between the episodes. So watching it right after Remember It would be, I think, a nice emotional journey to go through, and
kind of remove that one out of there and watch those back to back.
Yeah, I think that'd be an experience.
That's a heavy experience,
because I don't think you lose anything given how Storm and Xavier weren't reintegrated. Why wouldn't you watch that after this? You were talking about doing a recut. I would just cram these 2 episodes together. And then, like, oh yeah, we forgot about Storm and Xavier. What are you? Because you would get that little thing with what's his face watching the clip of Xavier being, like, okay. So we would not have heard anything from Xavier and what he's doing, and then you would have gotten that scene and then get the episode. That would be great.
I wonder if they thought about. I wonder if how they visualize this. If they had him flip flopped and decided to change it up so it wasn't so heavy, two real heavy episodes back to back.
Yeah, and then you get
kind of beat down their audience.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to get like the writers' room like plotting to that, for that decision. But to me, given the context that we have currently, I think as a viewing experience, like you just like emotional trauma in a better order with better like teases towards things, because like seeing like oh my god, all this stuff has happened but Xavier is capable of getting here, what the hell is he doing, what's going on out there, and then getting the episode like of what he's going through, and then seeing that like oh no, he is actually shooketh and is going to come back. Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense, because right now we're getting these like waves of up and down, where if we just kind of kept it low and it's just like we're going down, it's just everything's going to, and then I'm assuming the next 3 episodes we're gonna get some triumphant things happen, and some things are looking up for the team or for people in general, right?
Mutants in general.
Yeah. I would love. Because I've been just like speaking praises, and I'm a natural born hater, so like this is my only way to dig into being a hater is the release order. I don't agree with, because like let's just take the audience all the way down to the bottom. Let's take them down to the most horrid, like an actual genocide happened. Characters that you care about are dead. Yeah. And then barely spoon feed them some victories with reminding them that everything is going to hell. Because like if you had this episode before the Storm and Xavier one, where they're like, oh my god, everything is just horrible and it's really really bad. Like we've got like several big bads like committing to this bit. Now we realize that, and then go into the episode where like Storm gets her powers back, yippee. Xavier's coming back, yippee. But then they realize that they're in the same place that we are, seeing just how bad things are. So we're still like giving them a little bit of hope and stuffing it out immediately. We're constantly keeping us at this low. So the highs towards the end, which I'm assuming there's highs, maybe there isn't. Maybe we just go right back down and this story doesn't end as well.
I don't know if the audience can handle just 3 more episodes of just burying us in the dirt.
well, and that's what I would like to see. We saw success with that with Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
I don't think I finished that. Did I finish
because you
that?
got sad?
I don't think I finished that. I watched a bunch, but I didn't. It kind of fell to the wayside for me.
Yeah. Edge Runners was crazy, just like. And they just ended it on just like the lowest that you could have.
Maybe. That's good. I'm gonna have to go back and kind of peruse that to see if I did get
like
through
animation, because it's not anime, but animation that is doing like, because even Arcane from League of Legends kind of ended in a pretty sour way, and it's a good, compelling story to tell a complete arc and giving us something that's not just like the hero's journey where it ends with like everything's okay.
The happy ending. Yeah. I mean, that's, and I know I keep bringing it back to wrestling, but that same thing with, it's good storytelling. Like every time I watch the good guy not win, and I want him to win, and then you're like, damn it. And now I have to watch the bad guy win over and over again. And I'm like, will he just get the small victories or the big one eventually? And then when you get that one, it pays off, and it's that much better. It's that much sweeter at the end. In the end,
it's subversing expectations in the correct way, in a really really compelling way, to where you're interested and you want and you're invested. So, and I think that's why I just put so much value on this show thus far to where I want to be a big hater. I can hate on a ton of Disney IP, don't you worry, or IPs in general, but this is just really taking my expectations and saying I don't care because this is just good.
Yeah, we've had many discussions about IPs that have not met your expectations.
That's why we do this show. That's why you like
this
subscribe.
hasn't. Yeah, that's why this has come about. Yeah, so make sure you like and subscribe so you can see us slam on some IPs or praise some IPs depending on where we stand. All right, so where we're at now, we are in overall thoughts. Yes, overall thoughts and predictions. What say you, Steven?
I was right. Magneto is not dead. Absolutely.
You're right.
Correct.
You were right. I wrote down Steven was right.
Steven was right.
Body equals dead.
No way. No way. Nobody know. Like, and that's where I go to, like, the funeral ceremony and everything, and her holding his not alive body, Rogue holding Gambit. Like, he's dead. They made sure to show you, like, he's dead. Don't know about Magneto. No, he's getting some weird Sweeney Todd treatment in a basement somewhere. I hate single blade razors. Like that is like, some people have arachnophobia. Like those things come out in real life, and I'm like, I don't like those. They scare me. I hate. So that was just like the creepiest scene for me personally that you could have crafted. Like, you're kidnapped, he's putting a towel over you, could feel that cold metal on your warm skin, and nope, that is Nopeville for me. Absolutely not.
You did write that Madeline Pride's dead.
They haven't found her.
They haven't found her. Well, that's where I was like, I wanted to bring that note up because that falls into we don't have a body, so we don't have a person that's unalived.
So my prediction is her body's dead as hell because they showed us finding another psyker.
It was Emma Frost.
Right. So if she is alive,
turned herself into, the punny. I'm best under pressure and I'm like, come on.
That's good. That is the good comic book pun I expect.
I mean,
come on.
It was. I just kind of went, dad jokes.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's like she gave the thumbs up. Like, hey, I'm good. Like, it's fine. I'm good under pressure. Like, oh my God, she's alive. That is what I expect out of my comic book like dialogue. But they intentionally show that like Jean is able to find psychers because they are projecting out. If Madeline is not able to communicate with Scott, which she has shown she can do, she can communicate continents away. If she is alive, she would be communicating, and she's not. So she's dead.
Okay, that's a solid prediction. Like, I guess I didn't think of it like that. The other thing is Jean wasn't wearing her hair up, and I know that's like such a minuscule thing, but we have established Madeline wears her hair down, Jean wears her hair up, so we can differentiate the two. And she was wearing it down in this one, so your theory might hold some water there. So, okay, all right, that's a good prediction.
It was really subtle moments, but where like Scott is doing acceptance, like that whole jam is done one way or the other. Like his commitment is to Jean. We're getting the double edge on his son. Like, hey, yeah, I'm alive, but it doesn't matter because we got to do, Dad. Like, get over it. And like, that's brutal.
The fact that he called him
super
Dad,
brutal. Yeah.
The fact that he called him Dad, I was like, whoa, okay, good. We're addressing this, and he knows it now. Like, he's because I don't know if he's known that in the previous.
I would assume
iterations of him. No, in the animated series, I don't think he's known this.
They're doing such a good job sticking to it. I don't know why they would retcon that.
Because I think in the original animated series, Jean saw it in him, that who he was, but this is based on some stuff I was watching. I think she saw it in him, but never addressed it with him, and I don't think he knew it. So they
So
just never
Jean
addressed
has
it.
interacted with Cable, but Madeline had not.
But maybe that's what it was. Yes.
Okay.
But this was in the original series.
Right.
She
Well, I
had
mean,
saw that
technically, this is a continuation. There's no original
Oh,
series
yeah,
or
yeah,
remake.
yeah.
This is just the
Oh,
same
I'm sorry.
series going
I'm trying to
forward. Yeah.
differentiate. Well, I'm just trying to differentiate from the original 5 seasons opposed to this one.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think they're sticking true. Like, what was established in those 5 seasons are canon to 97. Like,
Yeah.
this is completely
absolutely.
through line. So I'm assuming that Scott and Madeline did not know Cable was Nathan.
Yeah, and I like that they finally paid off the showing him in Apocalypse for 3 episodes in the intro, and I'm like, thank God he's back. All right, now he's back to help to fight this thing.
Yeah.
And also we got Morph as he morphed into his Quicksilver, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I
really-
didn't catch it. I was like, wait, when did Quicksilver get into the mix? Like, I didn't see the transformation that fast, and I was just like, I must have like went to take a note, so I missed it. I was like, oh, where I was thrown, and then I was like,
He
oh,
was
it's
standing in
Morph,
the-
dumbass.
Yeah, he was standing in the back, so you didn't see him, and then all of a sudden he just zooms off his Quicksilver.
So I feel like that was intentional. Where like, wait, what the hell? But because like usually like when Morph transforms, they spend a good amount of like camera space to show like, oh, he transformed. Like, don't worry, it's not some rando just joining the mix.
Yeah, I think they've always usually given him at least a medium shot where he turns into something and then does it. I like that he got punched out of it, and we kind of saw the reverse of this where he just knocked Quicksilver completely out of him. Oh, this was interesting. And Bastion said to Sinister, you've been trying to kill them since 92 and you haven't, something to that effect. Like, you've been trying since 92.
That was a little fourth wall-y for me.
Well, so I'm like, well, Sinister was in comics forever ago. Like, I remember the 80s when I was reading comics with Sinister in it. I'm like, so what's 92? In 92, well, he first appeared in 93. So I was reading that he first appeared in season 2, which was 93, which they would have animated it in 92, and then it aired in 93. And I was
and
like,
you're assuming he's
right,
in the background trying to gain power or whatever, or fight the X-Men since they're established.
Yeah.
But
I was like, okay, I like that.
That will reinforce, like, it very much galvanize my point that, like, the entire show from original run to 97 is canonical. The time period is current era with a lag, because I'm guessing we are in 1997 in the show.
Yeah. All right. So we are, I think, at the end here. We've kind of touched on all of the points that we have, unless you got something else that up your sleeve that I'm missing.
No, it was a tremendously emotional episode. I think coming off the back end of Remember It, this is another banger, like an absolute another one that comes through and hits the same emotional beats, but expanding on that story, expanding on character development. I commend the writing team and the animators and everyone that worked on this show to take such a large cast and literally develop everyone. Like, everyone is getting appropriate story arcs, and that is incredible, given that, like, over the last decade plus, you can't take one character and give them an appropriate, like, logical storyline. So, big ups from me.
Well, hats off to the story and animation teams for killing this show. Killing it in a good way, not killing it in a bad way. But thank you, everybody, for joining us for X-Men 97, Episode 7. Please come back next week for Episode 8, which starts the 3-episode finale of this 10-episode run. I'm excited to see where they take this. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you get over to Steven's channel as well. Make sure you like and subscribe over there. so you can see all the Poser series. And make sure you go to the Funky store to get some of your nostalgia merch. Steven, show us that nostalgia merch. There you go. All right. Well, thank you again, and we'll catch you in the next one.